Right. Hey, お願いします。はい。はい。Get up and down. はい。Side to side. はい。Lift the shoulders. Circles one way. Circles the other way. Hey, arms forward. Going back. So, side. Start one side. Open and close. Hey, over your hips. Nice, lucky. Hey, the other side. Both sides. Hey, Benji. Yoko. Hey, breathing in, out, ki, ko, dan, ki, ko.はい、体を。はい、さあ、はい、はい、はい、 Up, forward, down, hey, your knees from the back, knees circling one side, circle the other side, down, up, down, up, down, up. Open your toes, down, up, down, up, down. Hey, ki, ko, ki, ko, tan, ki, ko. Oh, first start with your toes, front and back, push your feet into your toe and fold them into forward. Maybe back into your toe, fold them into back the toe, fold into back your toe, folding it in and hold it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And give it a shake. And the other side. Back into it. Folding back. Fold. Back. Fold. Back. Fold. Back. Fold. And hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Shake. Right. Hips. Open your legs, lower your hips. Raising your hips. Lowering hips. Raising hips. Lower your hips. Jumping forward. Jumping back. Jumping to one side. Jump to the other side. Forward. Back. One side. The other side. Forward. Back. One side. Change. Forward. Back. One side. Change. Last one. Forward. Back. One side. Change. Grab your toes, raise your hips. And your spine, your shoulders, your head, and circles. Your side. And your legs, side. And going down one side. The other side. Toes up. The other side. Hands in front. Change. One more time. Hands in front. Knees down. Sitting. Change to the other side. Hands in front. Knees down. Sit. So, open your legs. Elbows down. Forward. Back. Forward. Back. Forward. Hips up. Hips down. Hips up. Hips down. Hips up. Hips down. And back. One side. And the other side. One side. And the other side. One side. And the other side. Side, side. So, sitting down. Bring one leg in. And give a massage to the base of your foot. Oh. Oh. Massage, massage, massage. And rotate your toes one direction. Rotate in the other direction. Send toes back, up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And tapping. And shake. And down. And forward. So the other side. Same thing. And give a massage on the base of your foot. Rub it with your thumb. Something that kind of creates a bit of massage in there. And rotate your toes in direction. Rotate in the other direction. And up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And rub and tap. Oh, yeah. And oh. So let's start this morning with a few core exercises. This whole week we've been focusing on having an activated core muscle in trying to have that during the our practice when we're doing techniques, either as uke or as nage. Now, as pretty much like every other muscle or every other activity, if we have a reasonable health in that muscle group, we don't have to think too much about it in order to have that muscle group activated and in good shape. If we are not in a good shape in that sense, we have to do extra work on it. So it's always a good idea to have a good muscle a good core muscle health in order to be able to do that. So remember, there are three things primarily in terms of functionality that good core muscle health or active core muscle engagement provides. Number one, it helps with our overall posture, which it's already a thing in itself. Core muscle health, together with level of eyes, together with pelvic tilting, is one of the things that fixes our posture in a way. Number two, it provides better power transfer from lower body to upper body energy. So if you are projecting or doing any technique, which the energy comes from your thigh sabaki, your lower body, your legs, your butt, your glutes, your hips, that energy transfer to your upper body, okay, and the more engaged and well connected your core muscle, is, the better the energy transfer will be. And number three, it helps us to minimize injuries because it, supports especially the spine and the lower back. The lower back being some, the back core muscles, but the lower back and the spine, to kind of maintain it in place and help us to hopefully minimize injury, especially when we take ukemi. So because of that, we need to have, good core muscle health, but also actively engage your core muscles during practice. Now, there are different types of core exercises, and you have your typical sit-ups and your typical crunches and things like that. Again, sometimes health exercises are a little bit like diets, in a way, like back in the day, like it was a joke. Back in the day, it was good to eat eggs, and then it's terrible to eat eggs, and then you only have to eat eggs, whatever, the white part and not the yellow part, and then go back again to, no, it's good to eat eggs. So you were always kind of learning and changing. And the reality with diets and the reality with exercises is that it's never like a what's called one shoe fits all or something like that, you say. So that's why it's not possible to administer one type of diet to everybody, regardless of their condition or their background or their needs and things like that. So it's the same thing with exercises. So it's almost impossible. People have to do work of saying, I know this is my library of exercises, and these type of exercises are more suitable for my condition, my age, my needs, and so on. So putting aside sit-ups, crunch, and things like that, there are certain exercises that we do regularly in the dojo. For example, your dead bugs. Now, your dead bugs, the idea is that again, there are a couple of different schools of thought in here. With your dead bug, one school of thought pushes the lower back until it's flat with the ground and then engages core muscles and does. The other school of thought leaves the lower back in its natural lumbar curvature, so it doesn't forces the back to the floor. It allows it to have its natural curvature and then engage core muscles in that position and then raises legs. I kind of like that school a bit more. I don't know, kind of makes a little bit more sense to me that the lower back needs to stay in its natural curvature because that's the way it is going to be when we perform, motions in our training. We don't force the spine to lose its curvature on the lower back. So allow, a little bit of a gap, the natural gap. Don't make it, don't exaggerate it, right? So you don't have to raise your hips or your stomach, something like that. Just allow the natural gap, on your lower back, engage your core muscles and raise your legs and raise your hands. So now, if you have a lower back injury or if you have worked a lot with your core muscles, even this position is already difficult enough, because you are already having to engage something. So now from here, the three typical ways of doing core muscle dead bugs are cross lateral, where you move back opposite legs and hands. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then homolaterals, when you use the same side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now bilateral, when you use both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the last one is isometric, which is, I should have grabbed a weight in order to show you. But basically, when you have a weight on your hands, you send it back about 45 degrees, so you're always fighting the weight in a way, because otherwise the weight would want to put your hands down. So you have a small weight on your hands, you send it back 45 degrees, you are about fighting that weight, and at the same time, you are using your legs, either, one at a time, or both at a time, depending how your core muscles, how developed they are. But let's say you are here, and let's do one leg at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Okay, so those four ways of doing your basic dead bug exercise are okay. Normally the cross lateral is the most common one. The isometric one is also very good. So the isometric one, you get a little weight, okay, put it on the back, and then again, here's 90 degrees. As soon as you send it back, of course, you have to hold the weight a little bit, otherwise the weight wins. You get a little bit of weight, and then progressively doing your exercise. Those are very good ways of practicing the dead bugs. Remember, the most important thing is the setup, like with everything else. Allow the natural curvature of your lumbar area, allow the natural curvature of your back. Neither compress it nor exaggerate it. Just allow the natural curvature. If you just lie on the back, what is that? If you have a massive curvature, if you have a lordosis, like really pronounced, then that's a different thing. You need a particular type of guidance and medical attention in that to address the hyperlordosis on your back. But that's a different thing. So allow that, and always remember, core muscle exercises are a bit of a chicken and egg situation, because in a way you need to have core muscle strength in order to do core muscle exercises, right? Because you are engaging the core muscles. So sometimes we don't engage core muscles and we start doing the exercise, assuming that the exercise will engage our core muscles. The other one is you engage core muscles before doing the exercise, and then you maintain that engagement through the process of the exercise. I think that's a better way of doing it. A better way of doing it is engage core muscles first, and then progress with the exercise, as opposed to have your core muscles all floppy and then try to do the exercise and hope that while doing the exercise, the core muscles kind of wake up and engage, okay? So dead bugs and planks are usually these days regarded as good core muscle exercises because they protect the spine in a way, because you don't have the motion, the curvature that things like sit-up or crunches do, where the spine is in constant movement. Again, I'm not an expert on that, but at the moment they say, well, constantly moving, curving the spine. Some people don't seem to like that. Some people like more the idea of protecting the spine. Understand that. Having said that, though, we're going to do that in a minute. So if you go into a basic plank position, okay, and then remember with the planks, usually if you have your legs closed, it's more difficult. Usually if you create a bigger base, it's a little bit easier. And in that position now, the most basic one is obviously holding, otherwise tapping shoulder to shoulder. Now, when we tap shoulder to shoulder, it's very good as long as we don't rock our entire body from side to side when doing the motion. So keeping your core muscle engaged, touch one shoulder, put your hand down, tap the other shoulder, put your hand down. Make sure that you move as little as possible side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. All right, so I'm back. So any sequence of strict plank position with any form of lateral challenge movement, as long as it remains strict and you don't move side to side, it's going to be very good to sustain those core muscles. Now, once you are in that position, you can do shoulders, you can do knee, you can do toe, okay, and so on. All of them present different levels of challenge, but yes, in principle, anything that tilts on one side, it's going to help to engage that core muscle and stay put. That's why, the other exercise that is very good for basic core muscle exercises is the suitcase carry. When you have a weight on one side, sometimes you can do this with weight on both sides. A suitcase carry where one side is forcing you to tilt into one direction. The same thing. I have no weight here on the hand. I have a weight here. If my core muscle is not engaged, naturally the weight will force me to do that. The only reason why I can keep this up is because part of my core muscle is engaged. From that position, some simple marches that you can walk up and down in your room. That's okay. But simple marches is a good idea. If you want to make the exercise a little bit more challenging, instead of having the suitcase down, basically you can put the suitcase up and then start the marches on the spot. But it's a very similar challenge to the challenge of the plank position, offsetting one side and the other side, because one side has more weight, the core muscles have to brace, and then you have to kind of stay put in that. So dead bugs in all their forms and shapes, planks in all their forms and shapes, suitcase carries in all their forms and shapes are good. And then there's a couple more that are good in order to challenge the motion in a 360-degree form. One of them is called, I think it's basically called a 360-degree circle in front of you, okay, where obviously by me passing the weight around my waist, okay, different parts of my core muscles are challenged in that circle. That's one way of doing it, that one. The other way of doing it is by moving around your head and then coming down into your hip, around your hip, coming down into your hip. I like the one around the head a little bit more, simply because it challenges not only the horizontal plane of the core muscle, but also the diagonal plane. By when you bring it down towards your hip, you bring it up, go around, down towards your hip, up, go around, down towards your hip. So now, in terms of which weights to use in order to do that, well, this is a proper kettlebell. It's very light. You don't really have to do much in a sense, depending on what your goals are. But even light weights are okay. It's just the concept of challenging your stability of your core muscle side to side. Kettlebells are fine. Dumbbells are fine. Some people even just grab a piece of a brick, for example, is just more dangerous. It's not ergonomically correct. But, a heavy book, a backpack, a log, if you want to go really, really basic in terms of what any weight, basically, it does it. It's just that some weights are ergonomically safer to hold, and some weights are ergonomically more dangerous to hold. So you just hold a brick, you don't have a very good grip, and then something can slip and fall, and then you'll be more dangerous. So that's why certain weights, like let's say a kettlebell or a dumbbell, have ergonomically created things for you to grab safely, which is very important when you're swinging any form of weight around. But if you are very caveman-like, sure, you can grab now that we're coming to winter, you will receive your wood, you can grab a piece of wood, and then you can do your 360-degree up around. Just be very careful to not drop that piece of wood on your head or on your feet. Okay, so that's but anything that challenges the stability of your core muscles is going to be good, as long as that challenge is progressive. You can again, that's a very light kettlebell. That's only 4 kilos, but even if you have a 1 kilo, it's okay. If you want to do more, then you need proper advice for that. You have to go to a proper trainer in order to make sure that your technique is good and everything. But in principle, it's a good way to start. So dead bugs, planks, suitcase carries, and 360s. They are all things that maybe you want to explore in order to improve the health of your quads. All right. So once we have done that, let's just stand up for a second. And then now work on the activation using your breathing. First of all, let's remember the core muscles are like any other muscles. You can just tighten them and release them, tighten them. Imagine that someone is going to punch you on the guts and release them. Yeah, tighten them and release, tighten them and release. So it's like any other muscle, you can engage it and disengage it, without too much thinking. It's like your arms or your legs or your jaw, your neck and your core muscles. Okay, so that's one way of engaging and disengaging, just tightening core muscles and so on. There is an interesting exploration between the core muscles and the pelvic muscles, which is basically the idea of the core muscles in very simple terms. Is if the core muscles you're going to get punched, you kind of engage them. In the pelvic muscles is if you want to go to the toilet and you just kind of hold. Okay, so the whole area is an important area to explore. Core muscles, pelvic muscles. Today, let's focus on the on the core muscles area in particular. Okay, so yeah, just engage them and disengage them, just as any other muscle group, and see how much awareness of the muscle in itself you have without the intervention of any other thing, which we will do in a minute the breath, but just engage and disengage your core muscles. Just see how aware you are of the presence and existence of those. Now, the next exercise is going to be with breathing. So you make your hands into a sandwich shape. You put them below your rib cage, over your hip bone. Okay, and then you're going to press. You're going to compress, and breathe out. Compress, and relax. Let it go, just like that for a moment. Just focus on the compression side. Okay, put it on the sides and compress, breathe out. And relax. Just for a moment, just leave it like that. One more time, compress, breathe out. Relax. One more time, compress, breathe out. And relax. Almost like if you wear one of those mattresses for the camping mattress, when you press them and they, you blow up. So now this time, you're going to compress while you breathe out. You're going to inhale and breathe in. And hopefully find a little bit of expansion of your 360-degree muscles in the breathing in. So breathing out. And breathing in. Expand. Breathe out. Breathe in. One more time. Breathe out. Breathe in. And relax. Again, depending how familiar you are with the expansion and contraction of your core, of your core muscle area, this may make sense or this may not make sense at all. So, when you're pressing in, I think that's something that people can usually do. You press while you breathe out. Can force yourself to do that. Now, when you breathe in, if you have never really used the lower part of your body, your breath will stay at the level of your chest and literally your lower body will not inflate, So you have to almost artificially use your belly to kind of push the fingers out. So that's one way to feel the expansion on your fingers. The other way, again, is grabbing a light weight, putting it on your abdomen, and then letting the weight, win on the breathe out, and then breathing in, and having the sensation of this weight going up. Breathe out, letting the weight win. Breathe in, let it go up. Breathe out, let the weight win, go down. Breathe in, push against the weight, going up. Again, a gentle kind of weight, and thus a good job in giving us the feedback of when the weight is winning, pressing down into our lower abdomen, and when we breathe in, we're pressing against the weight and hopefully lifting the weight a little bit. So, okay. Anyway, so that's something that we have to kind of get familiar with. When we breathe out, compress. When we breathe in, expand. So that's what will kind of be a core muscle engagement with the breath. Okay, so now the difficult part now is going to be to breathe out, breathe in, engage, and breathe out and keep that engagement. So don't release and relax. Okay, so you know what I mean? So now you breathe out, you breathe in, you engage core muscles, and now you breathe out, but you keep that engagement until you relax everything. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. So pressing in, breathe out, breathe in, expand and engage. Now breathe out, but keep the engagement in the lower abdomen. And relax. Okay, breathe out and compress. Breathe in and expand. Engage. Breathe out. And end the engagement. And relax. One more time. Breathe out. Compress. Breathe in. Expand. Engage. Breathe out. Maintain the engagement. And relax. Okay, so I don't know how far people are necessarily in this journey. Maybe we're still just getting familiar with the thing that we breathe out, and we can compress our body, and then we breathe in, our abdomen expands. Maybe that we still have to pay a lot of time of that. Let alone the idea that we breathe out, everything compresses, we breathe in, everything expands, then we engage, and then we continue the engagement while we breathe out. So that's kind of another thing. So, or maybe at the moment you're just kind of engaging and disengaging your core muscles by using just muscular feedback, which is like, imagine that you're going to get hit on the stomach, engage core muscles and relax, engage core muscles and relax, engage core muscles and relax. So that's kind of just purely muscular contraction, which it's fine, but eventually it's important to explore the role of and the harmony of the breathing with the muscular contraction, and how does those two kind of more or less work together or not. So now let's just put that into practice a little bit with a bit of ukemi, and I don't know if we have time with a little bit of waza, of nai waza, but sitting down first, shirokemi, ukemi, shirokemi, shirokemi, ukemi, shirokemi. So now this is the thing. When people come to the dojo for the first time, the very first thing that we teach them in terms of ukemi waza, number one is that the head never touches the ground. That's very important. Your head should always be off the ground. Number two, people usually is not familiar with this leg position where one leg is stuck, the other one is up. So we ask them to tuck one leg, put the other one up, tuck and post. This one is called post. So that's posted. This one is stuck, and change, tuck and post, change, tuck and post. Okay, well, once the people can, tuck and post, and they know that they should not hit their head, then they can go back into your bags and then change legs. Change leg, tuck and post, change leg, tuck and post, change leg, tuck and post, change leg, tuck and post. Good. So if the head didn't touch the ground, if we can change legs and tuck and post, then the next part is for them to know that breathing plays a part on that. So very early in the process. So we say, when you are up here, you breathe in, and when your body is going to start to receive, you breathe out. You breathe in, 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 you breathe out. Come up to your knees. So now, hopefully you see a little bit of the not necessarily the problem, but the challenge with it. If we say, okay, well, that's what happens in ukemi, and then we learn that breathing out is relaxing core muscles and breathing in is expanding core muscles. That basically means that when we are here, we breathe in, we engage core muscles, and then we breathe out and we relax core muscles. So we get up again to our knee, we breathe in, we engage core muscles, and then we breathe out and we relax core muscles. You can see a little bit of the problem with that. The problem with that is that when you are going back and you are breathing out, is when your partner is applying the technique and when you are about to receive it on the floor. So if in that moment your core muscles are completely relaxed, and everything everything is relaxed because you're exhaling, then depending how much energy your nage is giving you, then the receiving may not be in its safest possible form. So eventually it's breathing in, engage core muscles, keep the core muscles engaged, but breathe out. Breathe in, core muscles engaged, breathe out, core muscles engaged. Breathe in, engage, breathe out, engage. Breathe in, engage, breathe out, engage. Engage, breathe out. Yeah, so you can see a little bit of the dilemma in that exercise where, for functional reasons, it's important to stay with a good core muscle engagement while we receive in order to protect our spine, our lower back, and our head, etc. We're going to finish with Funakogi, and Funakogi will give us a good opportunity to understand the difference between sometimes a muscular exercise and a breathing exercise, right? So in a breathing exercise, it's fine to go squeezing in, breathe out, expanding, breathe in, squeezing in and relaxing, breathe out, expanding and breathing in. That's fine. In the same way that in a breathing exercise, it's fine to explore the full emptiness of breath. You breathe in, you hold, you breathe out. And in a breathing exercise, you go completely empty. And then you breathe in again. Okay? But in our day-to-day practice, for example, you mostly don't experience the idea of being completely empty. You breathe in, you hold, you breathe out, and then you breathe in again. You hold and you breathe out, and you breathe in again, because you are in the middle of practice. So in the middle of practice, you don't necessarily experience that complete emptiness of breath, because you are in the middle of a training session. In the same way, the idea that core muscles relax, core muscles expand, core muscles relax, core muscles expand is okay for breathing exercise, but maybe in your practice is going to have to be a little bit different. Now, Funakogi is a good example for that. So in Funakogi, we're going to move in our basic Funakogi exercise, where hopefully during the entire process of the exercise, your core muscles will be engaged in order to protect when going forward and in order to protect when going backwards. But then we're going to come back here to Furutama. In the Furutama part, try to explore, you're going to breathe in, you're going to expand, you're going to breathe out, and you're going to relax your core muscles in that sense. So you see, so in Funakogi, you're going to breathe in and out, and you're going to try to keep everything together during the duration of the exercise. And in Furutama, you're going to go to breathe in and out. Maybe there you can explore, relaxing core muscles on the way out and expanding them on the way in. Okay, so Funakogi and Furutama. So ish, ye, ho, 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 ye, ho. Now, Furutama. Relax, grow muscles when you breathe out. Engage when you breathe in. Hey, one more side. Put in front and keep your core muscles engaged the entire process. Yi sa, 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 yi sa. Hey, Furutama. Hey, say that. There you go. So Funakogi and Furutama are two very good basic exercises where you can practice the two approaches on your core muscle activity. One of them where the core muscles remain engaged as much as possible. We cannot have them engaged all the time. It's just how much awareness we have of when to engage them and how to hold them. And Furutama, when you can practice more, the more breathing nature of, engaging, disengaging, engaging, disengaging, engaging, and disengaging. Okay? Hey, let's finish now. Hey! Hey! ありがとうございました。